Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I want to take a look at the beginning of this week's Torah portion, and we're going to do a little bit of an analysis of a particular word. The rabbis do this often. They don't only look at the themes and the topics when they want to comment on what's going on here. Sometimes they look at the word choice. And for the rabbis, every word is significant. Actually, there are sections in our tradition that says every vav, every and is significant within our Torah. And therefore, if we look at the Torah, if we look at the word choice, let's figure out what we can learn from it. So our Torah portion today starts on page 631 in the larger of the red books that you have in front of you. It says Eitz Chaim on the front. And it begins, Vayhi b'yom hashmini, and it was on the 8th day that Moses called to Aaron and his sons and starts to give them instruction. He said to Aaron, take a calf of the herd for a purification offering and a ram for a burnt offering, etc., etc., etc. And then we get down to verse 5. They brought to the front of the tent of meeting all the things that Moses has commanded, and the whole community came forward and stood before Moses. And Moses said, this is what the Lord has commanded to you, that the presence of the Lord may appear to you. And then Moses said to Aaron, come forward to the altar and sacrifice your purification offering. Now on the surface, it sounds pretty straightforward. But there's an interesting duplication of the verb in these verses. If we look at verse 5, it says in the second half of the verse, Vayik Ravu Kol Ha'edah, and the entire community came close. Karov, they became close. It's actually the same word we use for an offering, a korban. It's something that brings us close to God. So the entire community was there. And then it says again, when Moses is talking to Aharon, right, in verse 7, Karav el hamizbeach, come close. And finally in verse 8, Aaron came close. So 3 times within these couple of verses, we have this word to come close. And at first we could say, well, it's a little bit of a pun here because what he's going to be doing is a korban, is an offering, which is that root. But that's not the way that the rabbis went with it. The rabbis were trying to figure out why was it that Moses had to specifically say to Aaron to come close. Isn't it implied that everybody was there, everybody was close, everybody was ready to go? Why did Aaron need that specific command? Let's think about it for a second. What are the possibilities? Because the rabbis come up with a few. What are the possibilities that would say Aaron needed this specific command? What do you think? Diana.
Well, I think it's a specific command because what he was asking him was specific. It's Karav el hamizbeach. Like everyone else was kind of gathered around I don't know if there was a hay. They were. It would kind of be like if everyone was like hanging out over here in this section.
Right.
And then say the mizbeach is like up there with the bird. So he says, now it's like you, Aaron, Karav is a commandment. El hamizbeach. So it's your job now to come up to the altar.
Good. So, on what we call a pshat level, which is a simple understanding of the text, everybody gathered together, everybody's ready to go. Now Aaron, who's the leader, who needs to step forward and actually perform this act, is being told specifically, okay, you're up, right? come close to the altar, do what you need to do. And so it, in a sense, makes sense. Everybody gathers together, and then Aaron comes up and becomes that leader, that shaliach for the community to make the actual offering itself. Okay, what else? What are some other possibilities? What are some possibilities that would require some urging, right? Because the rabbis hear in this, especially because it's a command form, right? The rabbis hear in this a little bit of urging on Moses' part. Why might Moses need to urge Aaron to step forward? What?
I think a lot of this was sort of leading up to this moment. Like they were preparing them, they were giving them the instructions. It was sort of like almost like I don't use this lightly, but like almost like a dress rehearsal. And now it's game time.
Right.
And he's kind of like, whoa, okay, now I got to really step up to the plate if we're going to use the dugout and the padding and all that as an analogy.
Right. Now it's real. Right up to this point in time, they've been building, they've been talking, they've been getting everything ready. But this is really the first time that Aaron is being called on to step forward and to do that in front of everybody. Maybe he's nervous, right? Maybe he's a little hesitant because he starts to understand the magnitude of the situation. Brett, did I see your hand go up?
Possibly doubt. It's been a rough ride. Moses and Aaron, maybe at that time.
Yeah.
Sort of like still figuring out.
Yeah. Possibly doubt, right? This has not been an easy ride. And actually a number of the different rabbis pick up on the hesitation aspect of all of this. Whether it's the magnitude, whether it's doubt, whether it's embarrassment. Actually, if we read Rashi, if we read the one of the main commentators, right? Rashi reads as follows: Shahaya Aharon Bush. He was embarrassed. V'yarela geshet, and he was afraid to actually come forward, right? Amar lo Moshe, Moses said to him, Lama tabush, lecha nivcharta. Why are you afraid? You were the one that was chosen. Right? So what is Rashi recognizing here? Yes, Aaron is a leader. It's his job. He's been preparing for all of this. But maybe, as Brett was saying, he had some doubts. Maybe he wasn't sure that he was really the right person, which is ironic because where do we know about a Jewish leader that has doubts? From the beginning of the Moses story. It's Moses who has the doubts. When God appears to him at the burning bush and says, you're going to go and you're going to go to Pharaoh and you're going to have my people come out. And Moses says, why are you sending me? Who am I? I'm slow of speech. And what's God's response? Don't worry. It's not I have your back, who's going to be with you? Your brother Aaron will speak for you. Your brother Aaron will speak for you. And it's a moment where Moshe realizes he's not up there standing there alone. He's got Aaron. Certainly he's got God, and I think that's part of this too, right? But he's got his brother Aaron, who's going to be there with him, who's going to stand with him and make sure that in that scary leadership position, Moshe isn't alone. Moses isn't alone. Fast forward now, and Rashi's flipping it. He's saying it's the other way around. It's now Aaron that has the hesitation because he's the one who's center stage. He's the one who has to go up and to do all of this. And Moses is returning the favor. He's like, I got your back. Don't worry about it. You were the one that was chosen. In the same way that Aaron said to Moshe, you were the one that was chosen for that task. Moshe is now saying to Aaron, you were the one that was chosen for this side. This is your task to do. And nobody here can do it any better, not even me. This was your task to do.
I think I have another also to that, and not more. Aaron had doubt, but the other people might have had doubt too. So now they're all together, and he's saying, and this is what the Lord commanded you take. So it's almost like not taking him out in private and saying, this is the way it is. He's got this whole group, I just picture them there. He's got this whole group convening. And so they had that saying, oh, okay, because we already know that they were skeptical, they were disobedient, they had problems with authority.
Right.
And
Right.
we'll see in a few more cases.
So there's definitely, this is not just a private conversation between Moses and Aaron, right? This is a conversation that is happening in front of the entire people. And so I think what you're saying, Diana, and I think there's a lot of validity to that, is maybe this conversation is not just for the benefit of Aaron, but it's also for the benefit of the people. To say, this is the guy. This is who is going to be doing all of this as we move forward. Okay, but let's go back to this issue of doubt. What might Aaron have been doubting? Well, maybe he was old.
This is like 132 at this point or something.
Maybe. Can I really do this? Maybe. So it's interesting. Ramban, which is Nachmanides, different from Rambam, Maimonides. Ramban, who's a mystic, actually, in his commentary on this section, says Aaron actually, when he saw the altar, right, and he was told to step forward to the altar, the phrase that we normally hear is El Karnot HaMizbeach, to the horns of the altar. And the way that the altar was constructed is it actually had these horns, sort of, these pointed things on the corners. If you ever look at pictures of it, the way that it appeared. Well, there's a little bit of PTSD maybe that Aaron has thinking about horns. What's that? The golden calf, right? The golden calf. That already happened. So perhaps as Aaron is being asked to step forward and be the lead for all of this, he's saying, are you sure? Are you sure I'm the one that's supposed to be doing this? Right? I was involved in this golden calf, in all of this. And this replacement of worship of this thing that wasn't supposed to be to now this is the way it is supposed to be, there's this sense of, am I good enough? Actually, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs talks about this vis-a-vis this whole idea of imposter syndrome, right? Am I really the person who should be doing this? Maybe there's somebody better. Maybe there's somebody that should be, like, I messed up here, guys. And Moshe is saying, no, you're still the person who's supposed to step forward. You're still the person who is supposed to do this. And I think this brings us to one of the most important lessons that the Torah teaches us throughout the Torah, starting already in the book of Genesis, all the way through here, is you don't need to be perfect to be Jewish, to do what we're supposed to do. It's not an all or nothing sort of situation. I was just reading something, those people who are into nutrition and those people who are thinking about dieting and stuff like that, how often do we get into that all or nothing thinking? It's like, well, I already had a scoop of ice cream, I might as well have the sundae. Right? It's very common to what it is we do here. It's all or nothing. Well, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. We have all of these different sorts of things. I'm here. I might as well, and it goes along with what Aaron was thinking here. Well, I've already messed up once. Why should I even be up here anymore? And our tradition sees Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Aaron, as fallible, real human beings. They're going to mess up, just like we do. And the message here is saying very clearly, yeah, you're still the one. You're still the right person to step forward in spite of the fact that you messed up, in spite of the fact that you fell down, in spite of the fact that you stumbled along the way. You're still the right person to step forward and to do this. And it's a powerful moment, and I think that's why we have the threefold repetition of this word karov, to become close. Because when we feel like we've made a mistake, we feel distant, we feel separated. We feel like there's all this space between us and everybody else. And it took a little extra time for Aaron to feel close again, to say, you know what, I can do this, to step forward. Unfortunately, we're going to read very shortly, right? What happens when you get too close, or you become too familiar with the death of Aaron's sons. That's going to come in the end of the parsha and moving into the next couple of parshiot. But for this moment, Aaron is being taught a powerful lesson, and I think we are as well. And I think Rabbi Sachs summarizes it well at the end of his chapter in Judaism's life-changing ideas, that sometimes our weakest moments are the ones that make us the strongest. Right? That when we recognize the fact that we've fallen and have gotten back up and have started walking on the path again, we're not going to trip again in the same way. We may trip in other ways. We may stumble over something else. But now we've become stronger. It's part of what it means to grow as a human being. It's part of what it means to grow in our relationship with God. As we begin to read through this transition into a new modality of not just Moses interacting with God, but now Aaron and the other people interacting with God as well, may we remember that we don't need to be perfect to be Jewish. We don't need to be perfect to be who we are. We just need to be a little bit better than we were yesterday. Shabbat shalom.